the forgotten Muslim genius who saved millions. The true story of Ibn Al-Baitar. Imagine a man who walked deserts, crossed kingdoms, faced thieves, saved lives, and uncovered cures hidden for centuries. Not with power, not with weapons, but with the language of plants and the faith of a believer. This is the mysterious, emotional, and unbelievable true story of Ibn Al-Baitar, the man who discovered over 1,400 cures that shaped medicine for centuries. But behind the fame was a secret journey of danger, miracles, and knowledge placed in his hands by destiny. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear will shake your heart and open your eyes to the forgotten genius of the Islamic Golden Age. Ibn Al-Baitar, born in 1197 near the warm coast of Malaga in Al-Andalus, grew up in a world where the scent of herbs drifted through the narrow streets like a quiet whisper of hidden knowledge. And from the moment he learned to walk, he followed the footsteps of the healers, the gardeners, and the old herbalists who knew how to speak to plants the way others speak to people. But his story was not one of simple learning. It was a journey of emotion, danger, faith, and mystery for the young man, whose name would one day echo across continents as the greatest botanist and pharmacist of the Islamic Golden Age carried a secret that even he did not fully understand when he first realized it. He could notice things in plants that others could not, patterns, shades, tiny movements, and silent language. And though he never called it a gift or miracle, the people around him whispered that Allah had blessed him with a sight that reached beyond the surface of creation, and this whisper guided him deeper into the forests of Malaga, where he collected leaves and flowers with such reverence that the trees themselves seemed to bow in greeting, and the elders watched him, amazed, for the boy who grew into a young man could spend hours studying a single flower as if it were a universe of its own. And when he turned 20, his teacher, Abu al-Abbas al-Nabati, a wise scholar with eyes that held both the light of knowledge and the shadows of grief, called him one evening under the orange sky and told him that his knowledge had outgrown Andalus, that the world was wide and full of cures waiting to be discovered, and that the illnesses of humanity were many and growing, and someone with a heart like his could bring healing to nations. So Ibn Al-Baitar packed a small satchel with parchment, ink, and a few dried herbs for study, kissed the forehead of his aging mother, and stepped into a path that would take him across mountains, deserts, palaces, and secrets buried in both nature and the hearts of men. For knowledge was never a simple road, and his quest would demand courage far deeper than he imagined. He traveled first through North Africa, walking for days under the blazing sun, writing the names of every plant he found, testing their juices, learning from shepherds, women, old mystics, even children. And he wrote with passion because he believed that every cure he discovered was a mercy from Allah waiting to be delivered to someone suffering somewhere. And this belief pushed him forward even when bandits surrounded him one night near the border of Tunisia, demanding his bag and threatening his life. But instead of fear, Ibn Al-Baitar spoke softly, telling them that his bag contained only knowledge, nothing they could sell, but everything that could save their families in times of sickness. And his voice, steady and full of truth, melted the hardness in one of the bandits, a man whose daughter had been ill for months. And when Ibn Al-Baitar prepared a quick remedy from desert herbs and handed it to the man, the bandit broke down in tears, dropped his weapon, and let Ibn Al-Baitar walk peacefully into the night, a moment that would stay in the scholar's heart forever as a reminder that even the hardest hearts could be softened by sincerity, mercy, and healing. Years passed as he journeyed through Algeria, Libya, and Egypt, gathering more than 1,000 plants, cataloging remedies with precise detail, and discovering cures that would one day be studied for centuries. And in Cairo, he found not only knowledge but destiny. For Sultan al-Kamil, ruler of Egypt, recognized his brilliance and appointed him chief herbalist, allowing him access to rare gardens, royal libraries, and scholars from around the world. But with privilege came responsibility, and Ibn Al-Baitar worked day and night, sometimes forgetting to sleep, driven not by ambition but by a burning desire to ease suffering. And the people loved him because he treated the poor, and rich equally, often giving medicine for free, saying that healing belonged to Allah alone and he was only a means. But it was in Syria that the mystery of his life deepened, for there he encountered an old manuscript hidden in a dusty corner of a forgotten library, a manuscript written in faded ink by a healer who lived centuries before him, speaking of a silent plant that responded to faith and intention, a plant believed lost to time, said to cure fevers that no physician could touch, and though most dismissed the manuscript as legend, Ibn Al-Baitar could not ignore the tug in his heart. So he traveled into remote valleys and dangerous cliffs searching for the plant, guided by clues in the manuscript and whispers from villagers who spoke of strange glowing leaves seen only under moonlight. And one night, when the moon was full and the wind calm, he found it, a small, delicate plant growing near a stream that shimmered like silver under the night sky. And when he touched it, it released a faint fragrance that made his heart tremble, and he thanked Allah with tears because he knew this was not a coincidence, but a trust placed in his hands. He studied the plant carefully, testing its properties, and discovered that it could reduce fevers faster than any known remedy. And when he took it back to Damascus, people witnessed its miraculous effect, spreading stories that Ibn al-Baitar had uncovered a sign from Allah hidden in the wilderness. But Ibn al-Baitar never claimed it as his discovery. He said it had always been there, waiting for someone humble enough to approach it with respect. His fame spread across Egypt, Syria, Arabia, and beyond, but the weight of responsibility grew heavy, for everywhere he went, people begged him for cures, and he could not rest knowing how many still suffered. So he continued compiling his greatest work, Al-Jami fi al-Adwiya al-Mufrada, a masterpiece describing more than 1,400 plants, minerals, and remedies, many discovered by him, written with such clarity that physicians centuries later would still rely on it. And as he wrote, he felt time slipping through his fingers, knowing his life's journey was approaching a quiet end. Yet he refused to stop, even when his hands shook from exhaustion, for he wanted to leave behind something that would heal the world long after he returned to his Creator. In 1248, while traveling in Damascus to gather final notes, he fell gravely ill, and as he lay near the banks of the city, surrounded by the scent of plants he had spent a lifetime loving, he whispered prayers of gratitude, not for fame or recognition, but for the gift of discovering Allah's signs in the smallest leaf. And before he took his last breath, he passed his writings to his students and told them, "Knowledge is a trust. Guard it, share it, and never let pride enter your heart." And with that, the healer returned to the most merciful, leaving behind a legacy so vast that it stretched from Andalus to Arabia, touching hearts across centuries, and even now, in our modern world, where machines dominate and screens glow brighter than the stars, the name Ibn al-Baitar still carries a mystery, compassion, and truth that remind us that healing is not only science, but also sincerity, faith, curiosity, and love for creation. And those who read his story today feel a stirring inside their hearts, a reminder that one humble soul, guided by purpose and the light of Allah, can change the world in ways that echo long after time has carried their footsteps into eternity. If this story touched your heart, inspired your mind, or opened your curiosity, then don't leave without taking a second to support the channel. Hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share this video so more people can discover the hidden heroes of our history. People like Ibn al-Baitar, whose knowledge still heals the world today. Your support helps us bring more emotional, powerful, spiritual, and historical stories that revive pride in our heritage and reconnect us with the scholars who shaped civilization. Leave a comment about which figure you want next, and together we'll keep the legacy of knowledge alive.